After 90 days of eating nothing but meat, eggs, and butter, my doctor slid a statin prescription across the desk toward me. He didn't ask about my energy, my sleep, or my gym performance. He just looked at one number. And before I touched that paper, I asked him 3 questions. He couldn't answer any of them. That conversation changed everything for me, and it might change things for you too. In episode 1, I shared how I lost 40 pounds on Carnivore, but as my weight dropped, my LDL went up. Thousands of you asked, "Josh, is that dangerous? Am I clogging my arteries?" The truth is more complicated than a single line on a lab report. This isn't an LDL doesn't matter video. LDL matters, but context matters more. Today, we're going beyond the surface. We're uncovering the missing numbers, why carnivore LDL is a different beast, and those 3 critical questions you must ask your doctor before making a lifelong medication decision. Let's start with what most standard panels miss: total cholesterol, LDL, HDL, and triglycerides. This is the standard 4-marker panel most of us get once a year. Total cholesterol is just a sum. It's a weak marker alone because your good HDL can actually raise it. If your HDL goes from 40 to 80, your total cholesterol goes up too. Is that bad? Of course not. Labeling LDL as just bad is technically incomplete. LDL is a transport vehicle, not a poison. It carries vital fat-soluble vitamins and energy to your cells. Think of your arteries as a highway. Small, dense LDL particles are like crowded motorcycles. They are small enough to get trapped in the cracks of the road, the arterial wall. Large, buoyant LDL are like big SUVs. They don't get trapped as easily. A carnivore diet often shifts people from the motorcycle pattern to the SUV pattern. Same LDL mass, different risk. But a standard panel doesn't tell you the size. It just gives you the C, the concentration or mass. It's like weighing the cars on the highway instead of counting them. Same LDL, different risk. I want to be very clear. Some advocates say LDL is harmless. That is not what the weight of research shows. LDL plays a central role in the development of cardiovascular disease, period. The real debate isn't whether LDL matters, but whether elevated LDL in a metabolically healthy person carries the same risk as elevated LDL in someone with insulin resistance. We look at pattern A versus pattern B. Pattern B is associated with those small, dense particles and metabolic dysfunction. Pattern A is the large, fluffy, buoyant pattern we see on low carb. It's about the health of the arterial wall and the particle's ability to penetrate it. Context changes everything. You cannot judge a number without looking at the environment it lives in. Look at person A, LDL of 200, high, right? But their triglycerides are 55 and their HDL is 80. This person is metabolically flexible and likely has pattern A. Now look at person B, also an LDL of 200, but their triglycerides are 180 and HDL is 40. This is a high-risk profile, likely dominated by small, dense LDL. Same LDL, opposite risk. Now let's get practical. How do you know which one you are? There's a powerful ratio you can calculate right now using your standard yearly blood work. Take your triglyceride number and divide it by your HDL number. This simple math is one of the best predictors of your LDL particle size and your insulin sensitivity. A ratio below 2.0 suggests you likely have predominantly larger, buoyant LDL particles. It's a strong signal of good metabolic health. Some experts even push for below 1.0. If your ratio is above 3.8, it's a red flag. This is often associated with the small, dense, atherogenic LDL particles that are most likely to drive heart disease. For context, my last numbers after 3 years on Carnivore: 58 triglycerides divided by 74 HDL. That's 0.78. My doctor was worried about the LDL, but the ratio told a different story. Why does this ratio work? Because high triglycerides and low HDL are the hallmarks of insulin resistance. And insulin resistance is the real driver of the small, dense LDL pattern. Remember, this is not a diagnosis. I am a health educator, not your doctor. This is a framework to bring to your clinical team to have a more nuanced conversation. Next, we have ApoB. Every single potentially harmful particle, LDL, VLDL, and IDL, carries exactly 1 molecule of ApoB. It's essentially a total particle count. Many lipidologists now argue that ApoB is a far superior marker to LDL-C. It tells you how many boats are on the water, not just how much cargo they are carrying. It's a key risk assessment tool. If your LDL is high, consider asking for an NMR LipoProfile or a cardio IQ test. These measure particle count and size directly. Don't guess, test. Knowledge is power. The carnivore community recently saw a well-known advocate publicly quit because his LDL went extremely high. I respect that level of transparency. Integrity matters in this space. But when someone quits, we have to look deeper. What were their triglycerides? What was their HDL? Were they metabolically healthy, or were they pushing a limit their body couldn't handle? This brings us to the lean mass hyperresponder phenotype, or LMHR. These are often lean athletic people whose LDL skyrockets on a ketogenic or carnivore diet. The triad is specific: LDL over 200, HDL over 80, and triglycerides under 70. It's a unique metabolic state being actively studied right now. Early research from groups like the Buoyant study is showing some surprising results, but I have to be honest, we do not have 30-year mortality data for this specific group yet. Anyone telling you otherwise is guessing. We have mechanistic reasoning. We see improving inflammatory markers. We see personal success stories. But science takes time. In the meantime, we have to be smart and supervised. My philosophy is, boring is good. Stable energy, stable weight, stable markers. If a number goes through the roof, even on carnivore, it's worth investigating. Don't ignore it. Understand it. So, let's get to those 3 questions. These are designed to move the conversation with your doctor from fear to data. Here's what I asked. Question 1. Before we discuss LDL alone, what is my triglyceride to HDL ratio? And what does this specific ratio suggest about my metabolic health and my likely LDL particle pattern? Question 2. Since LDL-C is only a measure of mass, can we order an ApoB test or an NMR LipoProfile to see my actual particle count and size before we make a lifelong medication decision? Question 3. Given my high HDL and low triglycerides, is it possible I fit the lean mass hyperresponder phenotype? And if so, does that change how we should interpret an elevated LDL number? These 3 questions force a deeper look. They turn a reflexive prescription into a nuanced medical discussion. Screenshot these and take them to your next appointment. Now I want to hear from you. Drop your LDL, your HDL, and your triglycerides in the comments below. Let's calculate these ratios together and see where you land. Our community is learning this in real time. Your data helps others feel less alone and more empowered. I read every single comment. Let's get to work. In episode 3, we are going deep on seed oils. We'll look at why heart-healthy oils might be the opposite, and what they do to your cellular health. You won't want to miss this one. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive. Share this with one person who was told their cholesterol is too high. I'm Josh. This is Created Carnivore. See you in the next one.